It's the Happy Families Podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
Okay, it's a moment of truth. Every Friday, it feels almost like we're about to go through some sort of examination, Kylie. The anxiety starts to go up. How'd we do? Are things going okay or not? It's I'll Do Better Tomorrow. I'll Do Better Tomorrow, for those of you who are new to the pod, is where we reflect on the week that was and try to be more intentional, learning to be better parents based on what we got right or what we got wrong the week prior. Kylie, you're going to kick us off today. Where do you want to take this?
Well, in case we left anyone feeling like one family meeting and our chaotic, dysfunctional family was back on track, I really just wanted to paint a fuller picture.
Right. So you're going to make us look bad is what you're saying.
So week one, we actually did really well.
Yeah, for context, if you missed it last week, we sat down and had like almost a full day family meeting. What's going right? What's not going so well? What do we need to work on? We talked about everything, put together so many plans for how we could make the week go well.
We asked the kids to give us a rating of what they would suggest was our rate of function.
Oh, you had to bring that one up, didn't you? 0.5. 0.5 is what one of them said.
And in all honesty, life was just terrible.
Kaput.
It really was. You're traveling so much at the moment. A lot of it is falling on me. And I don't know if it's just a little bit of, I don't want to use the term lightly, but there is just a bit of post-trauma from having years and years of having to do this on my own. In reality, our family's smaller now than it was when you first started traveling.
Yeah.
It should be easier.
Right.
But I feel like dealing with the teenage years on my own just feels all-encompassing sometimes. So I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of a rundown, the highs and the lows.
Okay. And we should also add that I was mostly traveling for the week.
Mostly traveling.
I put all of these great plans in place for what you were going to do while I was gone.
As I've been mulling over what I might share, and I think the thing for me that stands out the most, these family meetings, they don't make things perfect.
No, and they're not one and done.
That's exactly right. But what they do provide is guideposts. We actually know where we want to go as a family. So before, when we weren't doing our family meetings regularly, we know what we want, but there wasn't any guideposts in place that kept us accountable. And so now, having had our family meeting again, we've put all the guideposts in place. We've said, this is what we want and this is how we want to feel in our family. And so at the end of the week, we've sat down and gone, how did we go? Where did we fall short? And what do we need to work on to get back to that vision of what it looks like to have a happy family?
Yeah, it's like, let's articulate it. Let's all say it. Let's get on board with it and see if we can move in that direction.
So when we sat down with the kids at the end of the week and kind of said, how have we gone? There was a definite acknowledgement that in spite of the fact that we'd had some pretty serious conversations around screens, that screen usage is still high. One of our teenage daughters in particular, who is really, really struggling with it, sat down with us and probably had the most adult-like conversation we've had with her in relation to this, because she knows where we want to go.
And she wants to be there as well because she's seeing it. It takes a lot of work to get there, but she's seeing it.
And so I was so proud of her. I was really proud of her that she was able to sit there in that hard place and be able to recognize and see it, acknowledge it, and then work with us to find a solution that felt good for her and for us. That was awesome.
Yeah.
We've done walks 5 times out of 7. The plan was to do 5. We didn't do it 5 consecutive days. We did use Saturday as our as our 5th day.
Yeah, I don't think you need to beat yourself up about that. That's not cheating. That's okay.
But I am so proud of them for getting up, especially because we're doing it so early at the moment, and for keeping me in line. Like, they're keeping me accountable. This is something that I want to do as much as they do.
How many times did you buy dinner? Because the meal list was a big thing.
So we might have eaten takeout 3 times this week.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so there's work to do.
Dinner was abysmal.
Yeah.
But we had Super Saturday. We spent more time with our family.
Yeah, that's mine.
I'm not going to share
okay,
anything.
all right, okay.
But we've spent more time with the family because, again, the guideposts are there. We finished dinner because we had takeout. It didn't take too long.
That's right.
There wasn't too many dishes to wash, so all in wasn't particularly difficult. And that gave us extra time to play games at the end of the night. And you weren't there, so there was no grumpy bums.
All right.
And
Thanks so much.
So what I really wanted to just articulate today is a family meeting doesn't fix everything all at once.
Yep.
It is a continuous and constant struggle and striving to get the balance right. But because our guideposts are now visible, everybody is on the same page. We all know what we're trying to work towards. It's so easy then to be held accountable and then reassess and just do the little shifts that need to take place to get back to where we wanted to be in the first place.
Small refinements, yeah. I also want to add this, Kylie. When we sat down to have that big family meeting, you actually didn't want to. And I think it's because it felt like we had a mountain to move. You were like, I know we talk about family meetings. I know we're supposed to be doing them, but I don't want to do this. And I just don't know if we can get there. And yet, having that family meeting, it makes it doable, right? Bite-sized chunks, you have a sense of what's got to be done, and then you just start, and it makes a really big difference.
Well, I think before, it just felt like everything was weighing on me.
And everything was wrong.
If I didn't get it right, then nobody else was there to pick up the pieces. But because we've invited the children to be a part of the process, we're all keeping each other accountable. It's not just me constantly nagging at everybody. Everybody knows where we're going. Well, come on, tell us. You've got a big grin on your face. What is your I'll Do Better Tomorrow?
A few years ago, our eldest daughter bought us a book. It was a book where you scratch off an activity and then you've got to go and do the activity. This is supposed to be all about family unity and family time. We've had it on the shelf for years. I think we've done 2 activities in 3 years or something like that. It was just not something that I don't know. The activities are hard. The activities require effort.
Well, I don't even think that they're hard. They're
not what we normally do.
We'd never normally do them, and they're not even anything that when you open them up, even though you wouldn't normally do them, we're not necessarily excited.
Yeah, you don't look at it and go, oh, that's going to be such a great activity.
Yes.
You scratch it off and go, oh. And so as part of our family meeting, we decided that we were going to reinvigorate our Super Saturdays. For those who are not familiar with the idea of Super Saturday, it's 2 to 3 hours on a Saturday morning where we do a no-cost or low-cost family activity just so that we can have that high-quality family time together. Of course, it doesn't have to be a Super Saturday. You might do a terrific Tuesday or a fantastic Friday. Like, who cares when you do it? It's about family time and not spending money, just spending time, really engaging with one another.
And since board games are
Since
not
I don't want to play board games, that's right. So we scratched off this one for last weekend, and it was like, take 2 items from your fridge or pantry and go into like nature.
Go to your favourite space in nature and find other elements within nature that you might use.
Right. And then
to
create an artistic piece. And so we decided to go to Mount Coolum, which is it's a really, really, really hard hike. But we decided to go to the top of Mount Coolum and we were going to do some drawing up there. I took some paprika and some honey. I don't know what I thought would work well there on my art, but I was kind of thinking maybe I can glue and I can use the honey for glue. I should have just got the glue out of the pantry, not that we keep it there, but I could have put it there and taken it from there so that it felt like I was not cheating. But we got to Mount Coolum early Saturday morning. We hiked to the top of Mount Coolum. One of our teenagers was in just a horrible mood, and I hate to say this, but I lost it at her for about 20 seconds. There was some significant discomfort because she was an unwilling participant and there was so much attitude, and I had it wrong, right? I mean, the fact is she was there and that should be enough, but I got really cranky at her because she was being a teenage girl with attitude. But other than that one little blemish, the morning was beautiful. We got to the top of the hill. We did art. I used paprika to color my painting with my artwork with like red soil and everything, and put the honey there so that I could stick some leaves onto the paper. That didn't work quite as well as I'd thought, but we just sat, and for about an hour we sat at the top of this hill looking at this gorgeous scenery, and we all drew. The 10-year-old, the 14-year-old, the 17-year-old, and you and I. We drew pictures, and I'm not artistic at all.
So I have to give you huge kudos for this because this is not a space that you enjoy.
Not at all.
And comparative to games, which you don't enjoy and you're really grumpy at, you actually got completely engaged, and I was so impressed.
I didn't want it to end.
And you didn't want it to end. And the work that you produced was amazing.
Well, for somebody who doesn't draw.
Totally.
And the one who
that's
does
my
stick
point.
figures. Yeah.
That's my point. It was just, I said to the kids from the beginning, it wasn't about the outcome. We weren't going to keep these. They weren't going to be put up on the wall or anything like that. It was just an opportunity to sit in nature, enjoy all that had to offer, and just be mindful.
So firstly, I didn't have time for it. Secondly, I was actually feeling a little queasy. I just wasn't feeling great. I think all the travels I need some stability, and I wasn't feeling great. Obviously, there was that little bit of a blemish with that teenage daughter who was giving us a whole lot of attitude. And in spite of it, it was one of the most delightful and enjoyable family times that I can think of that we've had recently. It just felt so good to sit there and draw and be in each other's presence and not feel obligated to talk to each other or do things together. We were together doing a parallel activity, and that was enough.
So you know what our weekend activity this week is, don't you?
Tomorrow, what are we doing? What are we doing?
So it's breakfast for dinner, but it's a rainbow palette. So we have to use food colouring to colour all of our foods.
We're not colouring our food. We'll have tomato. There's green and red. We can do the colours. That's fine. We'll put some orange into a salad. It'll be okay. I'm not going to put food colouring. We're having real food. I'm just saying it right now. But the great thing about this book is it's forcing us to do things that are definitely outside of our comfort zone and things that we're not even excited about doing, and yet it's really nice to do it. One other thing that I'll say about that Super Saturday activity last weekend was as we left Mount Coolum, our 10-year-old was a bit cranky. Emily was really mad, and so she shot off in front of us. And it's a pretty treacherous descent, honestly. It's not what you would call a comfortable walk down a hill. And so I took off after her, and so we ended up sort of racing each other to the base of the hill. I had the backpack on, so I had all the extra weight. I haven't run for a long, long, long time. And Kylie, I haven't been able to walk for a week.
I think we've all felt a bit like that.
My quads from the impact of the running down the hill. Oh, my goodness.
So take-homes from today.
Take-home messages. Do the hard thing. Do the hard thing if it means time together with your family. It's just worth it. It feels so good.
And family meetings, they provide us with the guideposts that help to keep everyone accountable.
Have a great weekend. We really appreciate you listening to the Happy Families podcast. We know you could listen to or do so many other things, and we appreciate you spending your time with us. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. If you'd like more info about making your family happier, we'd love for you to visit us at happyfamilies.com.au. Hey, on Monday, we're going to be talking about this topic. Is birth order legitimate? Or is it a sham? We'll see you then.